Mr. Speaker, nobody's attacking here. The Prime Minister needs to know how anxious hundreds of families are. In the last few weeks, they've been sent all over the country or told there are no tests. It can't be brushed off. So who's right? The Director of Test and Trace, this is a laboratory problem, or the Health Secretary, it's the public's fault?
I, of course, sympathise with all those who are facing difficulties getting tests as fast as they want, but demand is at an unprecedented high, particularly because demand for asymptomatic patients. But he should know that this country has done more tests, 17.6 million, than any other country in Europe. That is thanks to the, and he likes these international comparisons, Mr. Speaker, that is thanks to the efforts of NHS Test and Trace.
Mr. Speaker, hundreds of families are trying to get a test in the last week and they can't get one. I do acknowledge the number of tests overall, but this is basic stuff. People who've got COVID symptoms are very anxious about themselves, their children, their families, and what to do. It means they can't go to work, they can't send their children to school. It matters. And if they can't get tests, the Prime Minister needs to take responsibility, and not just about the future or something else, but address this problem.
They're doing a heroic job. They're testing hundreds of thousands of people. And yes, Mr. Speaker, we will do more. And the world we want to move to as fast as possible is a world in which everybody can take enabling tests at the beginning of the day, an antigen test to identify whether or not we have the virus or not, like a pregnancy test within 15 minutes or so that we know whether we're able to live our lives as normally as possible.
But as ever, he pretends the problem isn't there. The infection rate is rising. This is the very point we need a functioning testing regime. But far from the world-beating system we were promised, the government can't even get the basics right. The government is lurching from crisis to crisis. It still lacks even basic incompetence. This is what's holding... It lacks competence. Yes, Prime Minister, it lacks competence. This is what's holding Britain back. So my final question is this. When is this problem with test, trace and isolate going to be fixed?
Mr. Speaker, I think he was on the money when he said that this government lacked incompetence. And if I can just say to him that we are working flat out to address all the issues confronting us today, including trying to get the infection rate down. And we are getting on, Mr. Speaker, with taking the tough decisions, making the tough calls that will take this country forward. When it came to saying schools were safe, he was silent because he didn't want to offend his union bosses.